It's your main man 360 the Poet from the Morning Wood. And are you looking for the perfect drink? Well, you found it. Mimosa Royale is the perfect combination of California sparkling white wine and natural juice that is both tasty and refreshing. No artificial colors or flavors, no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. As the world's first ready-to-drink mimosa, Mimosa Royale is perfect for any occasion, day or night. You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale.
My mic sounds nice, check 1. My mic sounds nice, check 2. My mic sounds nice, check 3. Are you ready? Are you ready for me? Yeah, that's what's happening, baby. It's 360 the Poet, baby. It's hump day. It's Wednesday. So it's time to holla at the homie. And I am the homie, 360 the Poet. That's THAPOET. That stands for tenacity, heart, and attitude. Present opportunities every time. And that's what we're going to be, tenacious with heart and attitude. And we're going to give each other opportunities to say it with our chest. That's what's happening, y'all. Let me get a little sip. And we're going to dive in to the day. Well, you know what it is. It's the #1 online advice column, in person, online. If you want to meet me in these streets, come holler at me. If you want to come sit right here in studio, come holler at me. If you're in the desert, we can make it happen. What up, Lucy Lowe? Babe in the building. What up with your Squash in the building. What up, I am the in the building. I love that see people checking in, tuning in and tapping in with the homie today. Because we got a hell of a subject today, man. And it affects a lot of us, because we all have had our own, feelings about parents and how our parents have been parenting and things like that. So as we start to have kids, we got to decide on, what part of that all of us are going to allow them. My boy, all of us are going to allow them to be involved in the grandparenting process of our children. So we got a writer, a listener who wrote in today. He's an old school fella too. He's one of my elders, to be honest. I ain't even gonna lie. And his letter made me feel good. What's up, Nameless for now? Happening in the building. But I had a gentleman write me today, man, an old school brother, man. He came to me, man, asking me some questions, and I took this one to heart because if you don't know, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm a grandfather of 6. I got 6 grandkids. Yes, count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's right. My youngest is 10 months old, and my oldest is 14. So yes, 6 grandkids. So I guess he was able to reach out to me for some of my own experiences within this here category. Within this subject. But I always got to give my disclaimer, let y'all know, I never been to school for any psychology, psychiatry, counseling. So I never paid tuition to anybody's institution to learn how to become any of those things. So those things I am not. But what I am is what you would consider like an up-and-coming life coach, because through life I can help coach you through yours based off how I've been through mine, or based off the people who I've been around close enough to sponge up some of their game so I can squeeze it back out here and advise y'all out there in the listening waves out there along the online or on the radio. Yes, I am the one. I am he the one. 6 of them. Y'all see that surprise face? Yeah, I got 6 grandbabies. Yeah, I got my 5 plus 1, baby. That's right. Everywhere from Scrappy to Bud, all the way down. But so we're gonna dive straight into this letter. That way we can try to get some. I love to have all of my peanut gallery out there giving y'all's advice as well, because I love it. I love the way y'all advise the people who call in, because they lean on not only me but y'all as well to see exactly how others other than me might be able to handle it, right? But again, I'm here to say one thing. I never tell you what to do. I'm never here to tell people what to do. I'm just here to give you options based off what you asked me or the question you presented towards me of what can be done. You dig? So again, now don't have to take my advice as law, but you can take some of it, scrape off a little bit of it, and use it the way you can in your life. That's all we all here to do, right? Again, because you're going to talk to me, I'm non-judgmental. Never been to law school, so I'm not qualified to slam a gavel and judge anybody. So here we go. Diving into the letter. It say, Dear Holla at the Homie. Greetings in the spirit of kinship and understanding. That lets you know right there. He got an old school way about himself. What's up, Pick This 702? Greetings in the spirit of kinship and understanding. I find myself reaching out to you with a humble heart, seeking your wisdom and guidance as a seasoned grandparent. It pains me to express the ache in my soul for my son in his rightful concern believes that my past inadequacies as a father might repeat themselves within my new grandchild. I yearn to be a positive force in my grandson's life, to nurture and support him in ways I may have faltered in with my own son. Your counsel from your rich tapestry of experience is a beacon of hope in navigating in this delicate family dynamic. How can I bridge the chasm between us, reassuring my son that my intentions are pure and that my newfound role as a grandparent is an opportunity for redemption? I trust you will shed some light on this family juncture, helping me to forge a path of understanding, love, and healing. With utmost respect, just want to be a grandpa. Woo! What's up, Miss Jolo? That's a heavy one. He said his name says it all. Just want to be a grandpa. Because when we get to that stage, that's all we really want to be. When you get to when you become a parent, yeah, you nervous, you scared, like all of that, right? And a lot of emotions are involved in that, and a lot of them are involved in becoming a grandparent for the first time as well. But the main one, from my experience, when becoming a grandparent for the first time, so it was the first time with my one daughter, the first time with my other daughter. So it was different. It was the same anticipation because I just want to be grandpa. I just want to be pawpaw. I just want to be two-paw. Like, you know what I mean? Whichever name they give me, they dawn upon me. I want to be that, regardless of what type of parent I myself may have been. That's the thing. Like you got to understand right there. You got to realize what type of parent you may have been. Take those things into consideration, right? So I had to look at those things. But I've always wanted, once I knew that my daughters were, pregnant and babies were on the way, I yearned to be that grandparent. So that grandfather, because my granddaddy was my everything. You know what I mean? Because, my father passed when I was 7. So my dad was my granddad and my Uncle Billy, right? So it was like, my granddaddy was everything. So I wanted to try to duplicate that, but in my own style and being involved in the lives of my grandchildren. So that's the thing about it. As a grandparent, you want that. So as a parent, again, it may be so much confusion. It may be so many random thoughts going through your mind, depending on what age you are as a parent. A lot of those things going to run through your head, right? So you got to understand that, you're feeling this euphoric feeling, just want to be a grandpa. You're feeling this because the fact like this is a new thing for you. It's like a Christmas day, first day of school, however you want to categorize it. It's giving you a little bit of a zzzz behind your feelings, behind how you feel, right? So first things first, you got to, where many of us, have gone to explore these intricacies of family dynamics as we go through ourselves, as we talk here on Holla at the Homie. We go through many dynamics of family, right? But this one right here is a little bit deeper into the family tree. What up, Danny Duke? Triple D in the building. This one goes deeper a little bit into the family tree, right? So it seems like that they are grappling with the weight of like past mistakes. So regret and, or like, damn, I wish I woulda, coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Those things are heavy. When you put those on as a hoodie or as your shoulder pads, those words, those feelings are heavy. So what's happening is this, new grandfather is dealing with the weight and grappling with the weight of being able to deal with effects coming from his relationships, from his past experiences, right? From his past mistakes, not just experiences, from his past mistakes, right? So, which is subsequently something that his son is worried he's going to do again in his grandchild's life. And you got to understand, like your son, you got to first and foremost look at what is it? What is it that your son is saying to you? Are you listening and communicating with him? What is it that he's saying to you that he fears will be duplicated based off how you move now? Or is it based off how you move then? Did you just now become a part of your son's life? Like, it can't be just a new thing because he let you know he got a kid and all this other kind of stuff. So, and I see pictures on your Instagram and your Facebook where you with your son. It's even a picture of the grandson on there, but I'm seeing now that you're feeling as if he's not going to let you be a part of that grandson's life. So I'm wondering, where is the lack of translation of him being okay with you being in photos with the grandkid versus him allowing you to be in the grandson's life, right? So, you know what I mean? So like, and I haven't seen you tap in yet or not, but if you are out there listening through another page or something, my heart goes out to you. Let me start with that. It's never easy navigating like the complexities that come along with, different family dynamics, right? Especially when it's a specter, when it's dealing with something that you dealt with in the past or someone you've hurt in the past. What up, Dakarai? Kofi in the building, especially with somebody who you've hurt in the past. So it's a little bit harder to deal with that. So my heart goes out to you. But when it's looming over you like a storm cloud, what's up, Vibe with Brit? When things are looming over you like a storm cloud, it's hard to get away from them. So, but fear not. You know what I mean? Don't worry. We all here with you. We here to help you rock through this thing, right? So we got to address the heart of the matter, right? The question is, how can this grandpa bridge the gap between his son, reassuring him that his intentions as a grandparent are genuine and rooted in love and redemption? So what I'm saying is, in his letter, he wrote he said his son has a rightful concern. So that lets us know, like, he feels like he not denying that he wasn't the greatest dad, but he wants a second chance to be a good granddad. What's up, McFadden? He wants a second chance to be a good parent of some sort. A good parental figure is just a grandparent. So maybe, because what he's saying in his letter is, he said, like, he believes that his past inadequacies as a father might. So he emphasized might, repeat themselves, and be thrust upon his grandchild, right? But he also said that he yearns to be a positive force in his grandson's life. So that means to me, what that's saying to me in his writing, that he has a desire to do for a do-over. We don't get many do-overs in life, right? We don't often get do-overs to where they can say, all right, take two, in real life. In acting and stage performance, sometimes you get do-overs. You get a second chance. But in life, we don't often get them unless those around us allow them to occur. Because everybody who's involved in the first take has to say it's okay to say, let's start again from the beginning and do a second take. So with that being said, like, it's essential to acknowledge that, healing as a family, it takes three things. And I'm going to talk about those three things. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes open communication. Time, patience, and open communication, right? So just want to be a grandpa, consider sharing your own experiences. Not saying like, oh, well, let me tell you how my dad treated me. No, I'm talking about share your own experiences as a parent to your son who's not believing in your ability as a grandparent. Share your experiences. What I mean by that is say, you know what, son, you absolutely right. And it was times when, I wasn't ish. And I acknowledge that. And I don't have any excuses for it. I'm here to say it and laying on the table. I apologize for not being ish because there was no reason. Because you may want to know why, son, and I can't give you that. So you got to acknowledge and consider sharing your own experiences in being his dad. What's this Danica Carpenter say? She said, my mom wasn't a good mom, but I would never keep her out of my daughter's life. You know what? You know what, Danica, I appreciate you for tapping in with that, because you shared experiences with me about your mom. And I love Mama Wanda. That's my dog. I fools with Mama Wanda, you know what I mean? But, you let me know that, things weren't always that way. And I know that she's not, I know you're going to let her in Appy's life. I know you're going to let her in that baby's life because you giving her a second chance. And I'm saying right here that if the son is listening, that there's an opportunity to give a second chance. So what was it to you, Danica, that allowed you to give your mom a second chance to be as a grandparent in your baby's life? Because those things will help this grandfather go in with a different perspective, possibly on what he can expect out of it or what he can say or what he may be up against, because I'm not going to sit here and say, I was the greatest dad on the planet. I'm not going to say that because I know I had some inadequacies as a father. I'm well aware of that. But then again, on the adverse side of it, I had a friend of mine tell me he learned how to be a dad from watching me be a dad. And he, in my opinion, is a great father to his children. So that was a compliment I took as the ultimate compliment as a parent, right? But then again, I still know inside of me that there were some things I could have done better as a parent. But my children allow me to be all the grandparent I can and want to be in my grandchildren's lives. My screensaver right now, because it rotates, it's gonna be all me and grandkids. My wife may pop on there after about the 5th or 6th picture, but it's gonna be me and the Fab Five, me and Bud, me and the dog, like, you know what I mean, like, my kids, my children, my daughters allow me to be a grandparent, even though I had some inadequacies as a parent myself. What you say, Danica, she's gotten her stuff together and she missed so much with us. I didn't want the same thing for my baby. Exactly. That is an amazing perspective to take on that. And I'm hoping that this son, he's tuned in today and that he's paying attention to those things because that is imperative. We be like, well, you missed out on so much with me. You. A lot of times, again, y'all know my number one thing. When you point the finger at somebody for something they've done, 3 of them point back at you for how you allowed it or what role you played in them doing that to you. So you have to understand, like, if people want to change, and it seems as if this grandfather wants to change based off his letter, he said he wants to nurture and support him in ways he may have faltered with his own son. That's a big step. That's a big question. That's a big statement. That's an amazing statement. He said in ways he may have faltered with his own son. So he knows that there are ways where he missed the mark. He didn't quite make it over the bar as a dad in the eyes of his son, and ways he may have adopted in the eyes of himself. Because he said it in the letter. He may have faltered with his own son, but he wants to do the opposite of that with his grandson. He said, like, he want to find a way to bridge this big gap between him and his son, reassuring him that his intentions are pure. And I circled that in his letter, that his intentions are pure, because that's one of the main things. You have to express that to him in ways and not just expect him to say, okay, just because you said it, that, I'm going to believe it, right? I told you it's going to take 3 things in order to bridge this gap. And that's time, patience, and open communication. What I mean by time is it's not going to happen overnight. It's not. So just want to be a grandpa, you got to swallow that pill. Just because you say, you didn't cast a spell on your son with your words, it's not going to abracadabra and happen overnight. Not if it's a pure and genuine reconnection, right? It's not going to happen when you want it to. I know you want it to be right now. I know you wanted to say, like, hey, man, like, all right, now that we had that talk, let me keep the baby. Let me come over and play with the baby. Like, it's not going to happen when you want it to. It's going to happen organically when it's supposed to happen, as long as everybody who's involved in it stays committed to the process. What do I mean by staying committed to the process? I mean, you have to stay, if you say these are the things you're going to do to make sure that your son feels reassured, you have to stay committed to those things that you're doing. If you say you're going to be somewhere, be there. If you say you're going to back off, back off. Would you say, I understood that drugs destroyed our family and I never gave up on her. And now that's why I'm a parent and I could mess up and the tables could turn and my baby could feel like I felt about like I felt about her. He just don't need to give up. Exactly. And that's it. Don't give. Exactly. You heard it coming from out here. What's up, Sarah? Don't give up. And McFadden said, give grace. You got to give grace. That grace period. Don't give up. You got to keep chugging at it. If you truly and genuinely want it, you got to keep pressing at it. What's this Dakari say? Dakari say, he say, first, remember, you'll never stop being a parent. Yes, your son is grown, but you still his father / dad. Just trust is grown over time, one day at a time. Show your son and your grandson that you're there for them every day. Exactly. Persistence. Persistence pays off. Persistence pays off. You know, so that's what I'm saying. You have to give the proper amount of time. And as McFadden says, and grace. What up, Fender 43? You have to give the proper amount of time and grace to be able to allow the process to take place. Meaning anybody who's in this process, whether it's you, whether it's your son, whether it's your son's, the mother of your son's grandson, your son's son, whether it's your grandson himself. You know, because people can poison kids against people, you know, and we're hoping that this does not occur. But in the event that maybe the baby mama be like, your granddaddy wasn't ish, you know, allow that to occur as well and understand that that may occur. But if you stay committed to the process of genuine and pure intent, then that's going to give the fuel to create the fire to be able to make this happen, to make that pot boil. You have to give it time. You know what they say? A watched pot never boils, right? And I thought that was a lie. I thought that was an old wives' tale that, you know, if you watch a pot, it's going to boil and it won't. And why? I have no idea. Maybe the water's shy and it don't want to show off its bubbles in front of anybody that's being watched. I don't know. But if you watch that pot, it's never going to boil. So that means you have to allow this the proper time, and keep going and doing what you got to do, not taking away from the person that you've become. Because sometimes when we dive so deep into another person or into another situation or proving to somebody that we are who we say we are, then we take away who we really are. The person who we become dissipates. What's going on, ain't Earlette? The person who we are dissipates, right? Because we're so focused on giving them what we think they need and desire or require to make them feel like we are who we say we are. So just be who you are, genuinely and naturally, and keep it with pure intent. Then this will actually naturally occur, right? So that's the time. But that time piggybacks into the next thing I told you it's going to take. It's going to take patience. You know, a lot of people think, well, you know, I don't have patience, or, you know, what is patience, right? What is patience? Defined by Webster, right? One of the definitions for patience in the Webster's dictionary is the act of being. Just that. Just the act of being able to be in the moment. You having to be okay with being just in the moment, just in it. Because the adverse side of it is you would be out of it, would be excluded from it. So patience means you in the club, so be okay with being in the club. Be patient, young squad. You know, you in the spot, so be patient with how the night progresses, how things start to progress around you, because it takes you getting in the door first. So if you're okay with just being in the door as a first step and giving it the time that we talked about, then you working with something, you know, because so like being patient allows you to absorb all that comes with being in it. What's going on, twin? Being patient allows you to absorb all allows you to absorb that all that comes along with being in it, meaning you get a chance to just grab things off the wall. You know, a road trip is different when you're driving and when you're in the passenger seat. And then it's even more different if you're riding in the back, because everything looks different then. Because you're looking at it as so many different perspectives, where if you're in the driver's seat and you always like, okay, I'm in control of being in it, then you miss a lot. You miss a lot. What up, the Black Cloud? You miss a lot. You know? So sometimes you have to be okay with just riding shotgun or riding in the back seat of the situation. You know, you may not be in the front to where you can even help navigate how it's going. It may be the parents that are in control in the front seat. You have to be patient. Meaning you got to be okay with sitting in the back and looking at the sights on this journey that y'all taking. Taking in the sights. Roll down the window. Smell the air. All is well, my dog. Thank you, bro. Roll down the window, metaphorically. Smell the air around you in this situation on this road trip to being able to be in your grandson's life. Be okay with being in it. That's being patient. Being okay with riding in the back seat because you know you going to the same place. You don't have to be in control of the situation, especially if you're the one who messed the situation up in the first place. You know, who gonna trust you to drive when you the one that got us lost in the first place? I'm not trusting your navigational skills with this map if you the one that got us in this dead end street. That's what you got to look at it as. When you being patient, you okay with riding in the back. Meaning you get a chance to take in all that this ride has to offer without being in any control of it. Hands up, don't drive. That's being patient. Being able to throw your hands to the sky and be like, I'm just going to ride in the back seat. So nobody's calling on you for your navigation through this. And you got to be okay with that. Again, y'all know what I say about ego. My word for ego is eliminating your greatest outcome. Eliminating the greatest outcome. When you let your ego take over, everything that could have been the greatest it could be immediately begins to dissipate and fizzle. You've eliminated it because you've put the I factor in it. So in this situation, you got to be okay with being in the back seat and no control over it because you said you want to be a grandpa. Okay. You want to do a lot of stuff. So if you want to do it, you got to put in the work that will allow you to achieve it. And part of that is being patient and giving the proper amount of time for it to transpire. You know, you got to be okay with not being okay. And what I mean by that is, and everybody when things are out of your control, it gives us all some angst. It makes us all feel a little on the inside, but you got to be okay with that. When you're exhibiting patience, when you're being patient in a situation, you have to be okay with just being in the situation and having no control. That's when you're truly exhibiting patience. If you controlling something and if you've got a hand in how it's going, even if it's taking a long time, you're not being patient. You're helping continue to orchestrate, but you're not exhibiting complete patience because you yourself are, you know what I mean? You are, what's up, Don? You yourself are, contributing to where the navigation of this situation is going. So again, you have to have time allowed and the patience. But the third thing I said that's going to allow you to be able to rekindle this relationship between you and your son, that's going to allow you to be a grandparent, is open communication. You got to discuss everything. I mean, everything. Everything? What's up, Villa? You got to discuss everything. And that means from the rooter to the tutor. You have to be okay and open with not only discussing everything, you have to discuss every joy that you're feeling during this process. You have to discuss every fear or disappointment that you're feeling through this process. And not just through this process, through the one that got you to where you are in this situation. So you got to be able to bounce back and forth and be okay with the volley between the two. Because again, we're dealing with emotions and feelings and heartstrings. And when you plucking at the heartstrings, then that's a very sensitive subject. So you got to be able to be okay with people plucking at yours as well. You know, be sure to be ready for them to openly discuss with you how they feel during the situation. Exactly. Twin J2 said it. You got to be okay to hear the uncomfortable stuff. The uncomfortable stuff. When you allow your ears to take off the I fucked up filters, like I don't want to hear that filter. When you allow your ears to take those filters off, you are able to hear and listen. You know, that's when you're able to listen. You know what I say about, I told you, my brother-in-law told me, it's a difference between hearing somebody and listening to something. You can hear a car bumping the music down the street, but you got to be in the car to listen to what the lyrics are being said. So you got to be in this conversation to be able to listen to what is being said to you. You got to take off your earmuffs, because you can only hear what you want to hear. But when you take off your earmuffs, it allows you to listen. That's when open communication can occur. That's when you can allow yourself the opportunity to be able to be uncomfortable, but at the same time to really get to the bottom of it. We all want to get to the bottom of it, right? All of us want to be able to get to the bottom of it. Whenever we have a question, we want to know the answer. What's under the bottom line? But the only way to be able to do that is to listen to what's being said in the response. You listen to the response to get the answer. That's all. You got to listen to the response to get the answer. And what I mean by that is you don't just wait to respond to somebody. People are always doing the double dutch. They waiting. Okay, is it my turn? Is it my turn to talk? Is it my turn to talk? Is it my turn to talk? No, it's not your turn to talk. Because if you're doing that, you're not actively listening to the other person. You're not listening to them. If you're wondering if it's my turn to talk, is it my turn to talk? Is it my turn to talk? Do I get to respond to that? No. Just hush the fuck up. Shut up and listen. That's why people say that. Shut up and listen. Not shut up and hear me. Shut up and listen. That means close your mouth and open your ears. Because if you're so worried about being able to get your words into your son, then you're never going to be able to hear what he needs for you to do for him to be a part of your grandson's life. Okay, just want to be a grandpa? I want you to take off your earmuffs, not earmuffs, your earmuffs, where you're only hearing the words that are coming out of his mouth, and listen to the words that are coming out of his mouth. And as much as we hate it, look, I don't want to try to put my glasses up now. I'm in my face no more. As much as we hate it at times, just because, we don't want to hear anything from somebody who's not the person we're talking to, there are times when you have to listen to what the other person's spouse or significant other is saying as well. And but listen to me closely when I say this. I say this with all sincerity because, sometimes I had to learn to listen to my daughter's significant others and the words that they were saying, because a lot of it is reflective of what has been said to them based off what my daughters may have communicated to them prior to the conversations we were having. So I had to learn to listen to what they were saying as well. So just want to be a grandpa? You may have to listen to the baby mama, to the daughter-in-law, because there's going to be some of the words that she says that are going to have a lot of your son's truth that has been revealed to her in intimate moments that he may not say to you. He may not say these words to you, but her not knowing that he hasn't said, or whether she's knowing that he's not said, or whatever the situation may be, her style of communication is going to give you what she's absorbed and how it's affecting the relationship itself. Because again, you got to realize that's her child too. So part of what she says is part of what goes as well. And most times when it's the mama, they really at the end all be all say so, really. Yes, dads, we can put our foot down all we want to, but we spit the kid out. They push the kid out. See, it's a difference. We did that. They did that. So they nurtured, they carried and did all the other kind of stuff too. But, if you want to just keep it in simple terms, we spit it out, they pushed it out. So there was a lot different. So they, if she say, that she not feeling how you rocking now, you got to kind of be patient. And remember what I said with being patient, being okay with being in it. Because at least if she's communicating it with you, if they're both communicating it with you, you still in it. You're not exiled. You're not ostracized from your, grandchild. It just may not be the way that you would see fit to be in your grandchild's life. So you got to be able to listen to both sides. Now, sometimes, the significant others be talking some BS, maybe on some nonsense, but some of the truth is wrapped up in that nonsense as well. So again, I play angel's advocate and devil's advocate. I'm gonna tell both sides of the story, right? I'm gonna give you heads and tails. It's not always everything they say isn't concrete either, but if you're listening to the words that are coming out of people's mouths, you as the listener can be able to filter and decipher what is worth keeping and what you throw to the trash heap. What goes in the circular file. You're in control of some of that, right? At least I would think. Would you say, Twin J2? True. That's true. So we have to be able to, understand our own roles in any situation where we feel could be better, or any situation where even a situation we feel like may be too good to be true. What is our role in these things that we're questioning? What'd you say, Ray Butler? Cycle breakers. Everything you learn don't need to be taught. This is true. Man, listen, because, again, like I said, I had some inadequacies as a father, because I was a whoop first and, ask questions later type dad, right? Because that's what I grew up under. I didn't need to teach what I learned, My grandkids, they get away with murder. I wouldn't lay a finger on them at all. Even though I was a physical disciplinary, I didn't beat my kids. I never beat my kids, but I would whoop anybody's kids who were with me. You know what I mean? What's up, Cesare? I would whoop anybody's kids who was with me, though. And I tell the parents, like, look, if they steal, I'm going to pop their hands. You know what I mean? I'm going to let you know. If they touch something they ain't supposed to, I'm going to pop their hands. I ain't going to beat nobody's kids. But I would, they would feel a sting, But again, I didn't need, like Ray Butler just said over here, cycle breaker. Everything you learn doesn't need to be taught. That's something I learned. Like, I learned, like, if your mouth gets you in trouble, boop, you get popped in the mouth. Your hands get you in trouble, boop, you get popped in the hands. Your ass gets you in trouble, boop, you get popped in your ass. But I didn't have to teach all of that. You understand what I'm saying? So now I know, like now, kids get away with murder now with me. With Uncle Will, with Pawpaw, with Two-Paw. Because my youngest grandson called me Two-Paw. Like Paw twice, Two-Paw. They get away with murder with me. My oldest granddaughter, Scrappy, I'm wrapped around her pinky finger, and the other half of me is wrapped around my other granddaughter's pinky finger. Because them girls, they tug at your heart, man. They get you. Exactly. Twin J. That's why some of these kids are bad, because they think of physical first. Like if you yell first, you quick to anger. Like I've been reading some books lately that, that have helped me reflect on some things. Like if I wish I could have done things differently, as far as like, I used to have a fuse this short. Oh my goodness, my fuse used to be short. That was before I had my my green medicine regimen. What's up, M Chat? That's before I had my green medicine regimen. You know what I mean? My fuse used to be way shorter. But and I'll be quick to just go off on somebody, like, you know what I mean? Like my dog chain was not long at all, and anybody who was around could get it. Again, because I had the Napoleon complex, I'm thinking I'm bite first before I get bit. Like these are all the things, right? So again, these are the things I did not want to teach. I should not have taught. Like, because my daughter quick to flash out. You know what I mean? Like quick to go off. My oldest. My middle child, she picked up some of that from me too, but she got some of that from her mama too. But my daughter quick to flash out, and that's some of what I taught. She saw that. She saw that. So again, be a cycle breaker. So with your son, just want to be a grandpa. Remember I said you have to discuss some of these things. You got to discuss everything. Discuss these things. Talk to him about because you got to discuss what your inadequacies were as a parent. Were you absent? Were you mean? Were you abusive? What was it that he don't want to have around his son? Because it's again like it's a son to a son to a son. So it's not like it's son to daughter, where it can vary, where it can be a lot of different other variables. Can be an exact disregard for a replication of how things went in his life. So you got to talk to him about everything. Talk to him about I felt that there were times I could have been a bad parent to you. What's up, Cole? Number one neighbor. You know what I mean? You got to talk to him about ask him son, when was it that I made you feel this way? What's up, Porsche? When was it that I made you feel as if you would never want that to be around one of your children? Because there had to be a point in his life where he said, I never let my kids be around you, old man. In his head, somewhere in his head. Because for him to say that right now, he had already had to have thunk it. He had to already have felt that way for him to say that right now, that, that he didn't want you to be in, nobody, he would want you to be in his kid's life. It just so happened that it was a son born first, which really made it more of a wall that he probably put up. Because I feel this way as a man and I don't want my son to go through this. So you got to talk to him about these things. Find out what it is. What was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back that made him say you ain't getting no parts of my kids, Dad. I don't want no parts of that, right? What was it that made him say that to you? So you got to talk about these things with him. Talk about everything. You got to discuss with him where there was moments where, his son, it was times where I didn't even want to be a dad. I didn't even want to be your father. And I'm sorry for feeling that way. If you've ever felt that way, I'm not saying you've felt that way. Just want to be a grandpa. Because again, you didn't disclose what it was that made him not want you in your grandson's life. But it had to be something that had some weight on it for him to carry this long, to build up the strength to say these words to you. Because that took strength. Exactly, Portia. You have to have true vulnerability and truth moments with your son. Break it down. When you vulnerable, there's no shield. There's nothing. You are metaphorically naked to take your lashes when you vulnerable. And you take them with pride. You swallow them. You take them on the chin. Like I talk to people all the time. Can you take your chin check? That's a question we got to ask ourselves. Can you take that check to the chin? Because all it takes is one punch to knock somebody out, right? Trust me, I done done it. I done seen it done to other people. It's never happened to me, though. Never happened to me. Because, again, I've prepped myself to take my own chin checks. I've knocked my own self out, And what you say, nothing can be healed without acknowledgement. This is true, Portia. You can't. Just think about that. How you going to heal a scar if you don't even recognize that it's there? You can't give it the proper treatment that it needs. If you cut deep enough to need stitches, if you ignore it, you'll never know. You're going to try to put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound because you want to ignore it. You think you got what it takes to fix it. Nah, it takes more than you to fix it. Because apparently somebody shot you or you shot somebody. Metaphorically, I'm speaking. I'm not speaking in real life. You can't heal a wound that's been inflicted without acknowledging that it's there. Because it's not just your wounds. It's your son's wounds as well. It's your grandson's mom wounds as well. These things have to be acknowledged in order for them to be fixed. You cannot say yo, I'm gonna be all right, but you leaking. You leaking all that you need to recuperate. You bleeding out. How you gonna give love from a bleeding heart? You bleeding out. You don't have the fuel to be able to replenish what they missing because you're losing it out the other side because you have yet to acknowledge the fact that you're wounded. You have to acknowledge that you're wounded in order to heal. That's what you have to have acknowledgement. Time, patience, open communication, and in those come acknowledgement. You got to take the time to acknowledge. You got to have the patience for them to just be able to result to the fact that they are receiving your acknowledgement. And then you got to openly communicate and let them say to you what they're hurting. That's the only way you're going to be able to have this relationship with your grandson is to fix the pain that's going on between you and your son. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to acknowledge and talk about it. You got to discuss everything, not everything. Everything is so, so here. Everything. You can put as many R's on that as you want to. Because there's so many different parts. They had Trapped in the Closet part 24, but it kept us going. They discussed everything. You have to be like that with your son. Be like that with yourself. Discuss these things with yourself. Because I saw you tap on to here, Just Want to Be a Grandpa. I saw you tune in. So you got to discuss these things with yourself. Openly talk to yourself first, and then be able to talk to your son. Comfortably practice it first. Hear it come out your mouth first. Because sometimes we get so scared by some things that may have come out our mouth, we don't even know how to respond to them ourselves. You may say something and you see a look on somebody's face and they say something back and you be like, damn, what I just say? Not saying to have a rehearsed speech ready for your son, but at least get your bullet points together. If you got to, write them down. That way you'll show him that you're really serious. Sometimes you got to write stuff down to make sure you don't miss the marks. You have to be able to do that. Discuss it with the person in the mirror first, because that's the one who has the biggest issue with it. The lack of acknowledgement being that issue. Self first. You right, Sarah? Self first. You got to talk to yourself first. In order to get out of quicksand, you got to recognize that you in it. Talk to yourself like, okay. All right, Will. All right, 360. I got you in quicksand. What did I do to get here? All right. Now I know what I did to get here. Now I know how to rewind to get me out of here by seeking the help and acknowledging and talking it out with somebody else. Seeking help from those who I know will help me. But I got to acknowledge it first. I got to talk to me first in order for me to feel comfortable to be able to present it to them. That's why I got notes on my letters and emails, because I got to talk about it first before I present it to y'all. I got to make sure that my ish is in order before I try to help somebody with their ish. So it goes the same. Whenever we dealing with situations in our own lives, we got to acknowledge what is our part. Because if somewhere we point the finger, and remember what I told you, me, myself, and I, what is my part in this situation that I'm blaming them for? I'm calling them out for something, but I had some part in this. Talk to you first, and that's how you'll be able to decide and understand and see what part in this you had. So don't be scared. Don't be afraid to acknowledge how you fit into the equation first before even figuring out how you get back on the other side of the equation. So you got to make sure that you got to be able to be ready. You got to be ready to receive it. Like what Portia said, true vulnerability. You got to be naked, metaphorically naked, and ready to take your lashes. And when you metaphorically naked, you're exposing all that you bring to the issue. So true vulnerability, you have to metaphorically be naked. And that's going to be the first step. What up, Black Bart? That's going to be the first step to getting you to where you got to be. And that's to the finish line. How do you get to the finish line? one step at a time. One step at a time. Like, I was just on Ray Butler's show last week, right? We were talking about track and field back in the day. Like, we used to go back and forth at it, but that's one of my dogs. Like, we went at it. We was on the same relay team. But how did we talk about getting to the finish line? We had to start off as hungry freshmen to get us to where we were as seniors, you know, to get us to our next steps. So this is the same thing. You now a freshman in this situation with your son. He has the upper hand, because he's got something that you want. But don't look at it as you under his thumb or under his foot. Look at it as an opportunity to where you can, for lack of better phraseology, prove yourself worthy of what he gonna give you. Of this gift that he gonna give you, of this present that he's gonna allow, that he's going to present to you. This present that he's going to present to you. Show that you are worthy of it. Some people are like, well, I don't want to put on a song and dance for my kids, show I'm worthy. But if you out of pocket, you got to get back in pocket somehow. And you hope that your child ain't a fool to just fall for anything. So you would want them to make you go through the gauntlet some. If your child is worth they weight and they salt, or whatever people say, worth they salt, you would want him to put you through the ringer. Because if not, he may be looked at as a fool amongst other people. If he just let anybody in who hurt him, then how's that going to help him down the long run? How are you being that dad? How are you helping? You know? But again, I hope I helped you out today. Just want to be a grandpa. And thank you for all the people that tuned in and tapped in and helped and gave y'all, Ray Butler, Portia came in with some vibe, McFadden, Sarah, all y'all came in, Dakari, Danica, everybody who tuned in and tapped in and gave me some words of advice. I appreciate all y'all words, because hopefully all of us collectively helped this man. So remember, just want to be a grandpa. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. It's going to take open communication, but through all of that, it's going to take acknowledgement of your part in the situation, right? So remember, anytime y'all want to holler at the homie, y'all get me on my email. That's hollaatthehomie@gmail.com. HOLLAATTHAHOMIE@gmail.com. But until then, next Wednesday, we're going to be back talking about some other things. I ain't going to get y'all with a teaser just yet, but it do talk about how many friends should be in the car when somebody come to get you from the airport. But until then, next time, as always, keep your patience with yourself and stay tuned in and connected and embrace the harmony of your generations and those that follow. Until the next time, I'm the homie 360 the poet. I'm going to holler at y'all in a minute.